now. All right. So the reason why I wanted to bring you here, oh, there's Nadu. So the reason why I wanted to have this extra session today is because some of you guys are having a lot of challenges. And so I wanted to try and help clear those up because from the original conversation that we had, I based the presentation off of just doing it from your own office computer. Now I am assuming that most of you guys are going to be working from home and you don't have your actual work issued laptops, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to have things a little bit. That's where I'll have things cleared up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to have I'll showcase what I can from the web application and show you how you can do it using a lot of copying and pasting if you guys are familiar with that, and kind of go from there. If you do have any questions along the way of showing how you want to do that, let me know at any given time and I can certainly clear it up. So.
Okay.
All right. So with that being said, I'm just going to bring up this other window here. So being as you guys will probably have this installed on your computers at home, the only issue is when you go to schedule an actual meeting. So it defaults to an Outlook calendar, but if you don't have that installed, it might just default to whatever client you have on your application. This is where I'm going to help clear this up a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll still schedule a meeting based on where I am. I'll have my subject. I'll choose my time. Let's say for the 21st at 1 o'clock. I'll still have all my options here, but here's going to be the difference, okay? Oops, I don't see your, I haven't shared my screen.
Okay.
Oh, my fault. All right, there we go. Now you guys can see this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So when it comes to scheduling, you'll still have this window that you can use, but here's where it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of using something like the default Outlook option or Google Calendar, here's this other calendars option you can use. What that actually does is it actually pops up with a box to actually either download it with a default calendar application, or what you could do is copy and paste this whole information here, okay? Now, there is quite a few numbers that are listed here, but these are all numbers that are based in different regions. So you'll have numbers for Ottawa, Toronto, Quebec City, Montreal, Saskatoon, Winnipeg even. So what you can do with this is, I'll just do this here just to kind of give you an idea. So I'll copy this to clipboard. So that way what that does is it'll basically puts it ready for me to send from whatever application I choose to the side. So in which case, I'm just going to run off of my Office web application here. So this will be a little bit different than what you guys currently have, but it'll be a very similar basis. Okay. So I'll just go into my Outlook here.
I'm pretty sure I have Outlook on here.
Okay.
So
So when it comes to creating calendar appointments, you'll have things set up a little bit differently. So because this is based on Office 365, again, it's going to be a little bit different, but the basis is still the same. So because it's going through the web, I copied the meeting from before, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to my calendar here, and here I'll have all of my different invitations here. Now, if I wanted to create a new event, I'll create the new event, and what it'll do is it'll actually open up this separate window here, okay? So what it'll be is when I go to actually add the description of it, this is where I can actually either right click and paste the information, or I'll just do a control copy up. Ooh, okay, I didn't like that. Why did you do that all jumbled like that? So what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to list everything down below. I don't know why it's text wrapped. It's driving me nuts now. So once you have that set up, you can start clearing out some of the information that you don't need. So in which case, what I could do here is I can actually just clear out all these other numbers here, like these Quebec and BC numbers and that, and just keep it to whether it's just Winnipeg or the toll-free number. That's usually what I'm going to go with, just to kind of give an idea here. Clear that up. Delete that. Logger number, this toll-free number, back, you can disappear. So you'll kind of get that basis of it, right? And then you'll probably, so on your side, you'll have what are called, you'll have two tabs. One will say for the actual information, and another one will say for a scheduling assistant. That scheduling assistant will be able to provide options to add people as you go along here. For me, it's kind of built in where I can just start typing in the name of whoever I want to, whether it's the name of the person or the email address. So say if I wanted to send something to Veronique, I would suggest her because I already have her in my contact list. And then I can add people as I go along. Now, here is where you got to make sure that you line it up. So because you're only copying and pasting the actual invite, you have to make sure that you schedule the time to what you have set up in the system. So what I have to do is I'll have to set this to May 21st. And then I have it set for a 1 hour duration. So I'll change this to be here. And then it'll automatically look at what my calendar is based on this. And if you, and being as you guys can work this from anywhere, you don't have to necessarily put a room or location. But what this does is it actually sends this out as a calendar, as an invite with everything attached, so that they can add it to their own respective calendars. And whether or not it's going through a mobile device or through a web email application such as this, it should automatically still send them a reminder because you're sending it from here, right? So any questions about anything that I've covered so far? No?
No,
Does it seem a little bit more clear than the last time we tried to do this?
a little bit.
A little bit, okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Scheduling assistant. So I have the option up here for scheduling assistant. And what this does is it automatically, so this will have a similar, you'll have a similar window to this, but if I needed to add other people, I can hit add other attendees here. So if I wanted to add, say, I'm gonna have my buddy Shane or Jason here, I'll add another one, Shane. You know, you can use this as well. This will be a very similar window to what you guys have to help invite attendees if you wish. Once you have that, you'll have an option to add other email addresses up here, especially if they're not in your contact list currently. Okay. So then once that gets sent out, it'll send it out to those particular people as an email, but it'll also provide the description of when they wanted to schedule it for. In some cases, it might automatically suggest in their calendars, if it's on a smartphone, the date and time of that actual appointment for them, if you were to do it that way. If it was done through a web app, through their email on their computer, then it's however they set it up that way. But the other thing I wanted to emphasize on too was this link in here, because this is what they're going to use to join the meeting, just like the link that I sent you guys to join this meeting, correct? So what I'll do for that is I'll put it in the location here.
Oh,
I'll put it here so that way if they just want to click on the link, the location will just be there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to join this meeting here, 142.054.302. Join this.
thanks.
There we go. Okay. Actually, I'll do it this way. Sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to, I'm just going to send it to my other email here just to kind of give an idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it from a mobile device as well. So that way when clients see it, you'll have a better idea. So send it for that. Okay.
Oh, send it up top, okay.
And then once I'm done all that, I can go ahead and hit send. And then what that'll do is it'll automatically add it to my calendar for the 21st. So you'll notice here, set for here. So now what I'm going to do, okay. So join. Any other questions before I move on to what the client's going to see? Just sending it out makes sense now? Okay, I see a lot of nodding.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure of that. So I'm going to cancel that for now. Okay, so now I'm going to stop here and then I'm going to show my mobile screen here. Give me a second. Why are you not stopping? Come on, stop recording. I'm going to do it for the other one here. Okay, hold on. I'm going to do this. What's this? Okay, sorry, give me 2 seconds here. Join. On.
That's how you can mute.
Okay.
It looks like the dude's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Cancel that.
That happening, or will go and then you come back.
Yeah.
There, you guys can see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you guys should be able to see my home screen now. So I received the invite for it from my Outlook calendar here. So you'll see the one up at the top where it'll say Business Connect Meetings Demo.
Uh-huh.
So when I actually go in here, this is what it actually provides me with. So it gives me all of the information, but you'll notice down below, it has this file down below that says Business Connect Meetings Demo. And when I tap on it, it'll automatically suggest it in my calendar. So then I can choose to accept, maybe, or decline. So in this case, I'm going to hit accept. So now that it's actually in my calendar for that day, I'll go to that particular day when I have it set up here. So then I'll tap on it right on this link here. So then you'll notice underneath where you'll notice underneath here where it'll say the Business Connect Meetings Demo and then the links right underneath there. Theoretically, on most devices, I should just be able to tap on the link and it should redirect it. It should redirect it to the meetings application on their device. If not, it may suggest to download it from the App Store. So otherwise, if they have it from their, if they look at it from their web device, it'll automatically click on the link to download and install the program so they can look at what you've got there. Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
I kind of have a question.
Yep.
Oh,
Go ahead, Shona, and I'll ask mine after.
okay, so like when we're making appointments with our clients,
Mhm.
we've already made it. At the end of our session, we've made the next one.
Yep.
So then after we do that and we've agreed on a time, I would send out the email to them right after our session or right before we're supposed to meet again.
No, so it's more recommended to send it right after you've
Okay.
done this one, so that way
Okay.
it's automatically scheduled in their calendar. Because what's going to happen is that on the day of, they're going to get a reminder 15 minutes before.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So what, as long as they have it added to their calendar in some way, they'll get an alert reminder 15 minutes beforehand that'll say, "Hey, you have an upcoming session."
Okay, great.
Lindsay, you have your
Ethan,
question now?
is there any way for them to accept this without it going into a calendar? I'm just thinking about
Mhm.
people who might have like a shared calendar with their family, but might not want them to see an appointment like this.
So what they can probably do then is they can actually just go back into the email. Oh, mine deleted here. So in which case, what'll happen is that they can just hold on to it here,
Okay.
and then there'll just be the link that they could just tap on right in the description of it to do
Okay.
it that way.
Okay. So then it wouldn't have to go in their calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Or if they signed on through like something like Gmail or something like that, they don't necessarily have to add it to that particular calendar, because I know that, excuse me, when it comes to having calendars shared, I know it's done from, like I know for people that have iPhones, it's shared between the different Apple IDs. But if they're using something like Gmail, then it confines it just to their own personal calendar that way.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways around that for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Is this making more sense than the last time I had the session now?
Yes.
All right. Do you guys have any other questions outside of this that I can answer right now, that might be able to help understand when it comes to scheduling or anything like that?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How long does it take to download?
It's not
Yeah.
it's not very big of a program. It shouldn't take more than about, I want to say, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, depending on the speed of their internet connection. As you know, if it's coming from a computer, it shouldn't take very long at all.
And what if I'm doing this with someone, if I'm on my computer and my client's on a cell phone, does that work?
Yeah, so there's a mobile app that, that is, when they go to tap on the link, it can either go to that app if it's automatically installed, or it'll automatically suggest to download it from the App Store.
Okay.
Otherwise, I tell people ahead of time, make sure you download this application before we start, so that way it's a smoother experience, transition that way.
We can test it.
Anybody else?
No, Veronique's there.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
Veronique.
So I didn't realize you changed the time. So I just got
Sorry,
out of
that
another
was
meeting.
my fault. I apologize. I set it for 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, as opposed to 1 o'clock your guys' time, so that's my fault.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I have
You're
recorded
recording
this
this.
meeting. Yeah, I
Okay.
have recorded this, so that way if people have missed it, I can just send it out to you guys again. So what I was just going through was showing how you can do it using the web client if you guys are working from home, and doing a lot of copying and pasting with it, so that way it can still work with your guys' work email versus trying to use it through your default Outlook application or Gmail or whatever you guys are using. Because from what I was hearing from other people was that it was very, very confusing to try and set it up because you guys are not working in the office currently. So.
Okay. Thank you.
And what I was just showing on my device was when you guys have sent out a meeting invite, how it's going to look from when a client actually accepts it.
I have a question, but it's not about scheduling. I'll hang on to it till the end, shall I?
I'm towards the end now, so you can go ahead.
Okay. I'm the one who sent you the emails about having trouble downloading the desktop app.
Yep.
I tried it with Firefox, didn't work. I'm assuming at this point it's probably a firewall issue and I need to contact our IT here in the
Are
building.
you still getting it from the security side of things? Because I know that Microsoft Edge has a new update that has helped out in terms of that.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still the privacy error that I
okay.
got the first time.
There might be another link that I can try to provide you with and see if that helps.
Sure.
I'll just stop this. So I'll go back to a session for everybody here. But yeah, I can certainly I can certainly send out a more public link for people to see if that works a little bit easier for them.
That'd be great.
Okay. Perfect. Any other general questions about downloading, installing, scheduling, anything like that?
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry if you already covered this, but so one of the things that's happened to me more than once, it's a little bit embarrassing to say, but so I will schedule a meeting
Okay.
or a supervision or a client meeting, and I'll send out the link. So I'll schedule it,
Yeah.
and so they get the email. So then when the meeting comes, I go into the app and I click on where it says it lists all the meetings, and I'll press start. And I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm like, where's my client or where am I? And then I'll get an email saying your attendees are waiting. So then when I click on that link that comes up with that email, suddenly there's my people. I was in a different meeting, and that's happened several times.
Okay. So I'll show you that quickly here. So let me just share my screen again here. Okay. So when it comes to your actual scheduled meetings, you'll have to, the problem you probably started to up at the top was probably your personal meeting ID. Any of the ones that you have actually scheduled will show up underneath here based on the date and time. And then you can also label the topic as you see it as well. So it's just a matter of making sure that when you go to schedule the meeting, you find out what the actual meeting ID is. And then that'll help you reference it along with the date and time.
Right.
Does
So
that make sense?
that's what I did. I went into that list and clicked on start on the meeting that I had sent to my client, and we were in
Okay.
two different meetings. That's happened a couple times.
Okay, so then what I would probably suggest then is maybe just double check what meeting ID you did send out from your own personal calendar. And that might help things out as well, because in some cases, I believe you can actually just click on the link and it might automatically start you as the host because you're already signed in. But at the very least, I'll show you here. So in my case, if I needed to actually look at this and reference back to the one that I had, I can have both of these open here. So the one that I have in progress here, that's so the one I have in progress, that's the one that you guys are on with me right now. I'll just double check that with the end of the meeting link here just to make sure. And I'll also confirm the date and time with it, because you'll see the day for it on the one side and then you'll have the time on the other end. Once you know that, then that'll be in there.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you just want to have it so it's the same meeting ID, you can just use your personal one and that one won't change. So so that way it's less confusing. You'll just have to remember to start a few minutes beforehand or make sure nobody else joins at the same time. So that's the only thing that I would suggest in the meantime.
Okay.
So if we need to, I can always walk you through it as well. If you want to show me from your screen at some point too, if that's a little bit easier for you down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Anybody else? No? Clear as mud now?
Can I just confirm one thing? My understanding is, like, if you're on a computer, you can join just through the web browser. You don't actually have to download the app, but on a phone you do?
So when it comes to joining in, you just click on the link and it automatically downloads and installs the software just to join the actual meeting. When it comes to joining from a mobile device, theoretically, it should automatically either suggest to download the application from the store, from the either the App Store or the Play Store, depending on the device, or it might go to an actual web link where it's suggesting that you download it, but because it's going to a mobile link, it might just go to an actual website where it'll redirect you to the App Store afterwards. So that's the only thing that's how it should work in terms of the system. Obviously, that might not be the case for everybody based on a lot of different factors. That's why I make the recommendation of here's where you download the app before you join the session.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Would it be helpful for everyone if I actually sent out the official meetings guide for everybody? So that way you can do everything from there.
Yes.
There might be some extra tidbits that I might not have covered, but I can certainly provide the link to you guys so you can go over it. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You guys have my contact info. So
I do have a question. I was doing a family therapy session on the weekend,
Okay.
and there was 4 members, and the plan, this person is like actually like their job is coordinating people over online media. So she's like, okay, I got this. So all of the family was in one room, but they each had their own device, or that was the plan.
right.
Only one of the devices actually worked. So same model, same type of laptop, same hardware, same software,
Okay.
but on one of the devices the link worked, and on the other one it just didn't.
Like, did it just time out, or did it did it just give him an error that it just wasn't connecting, or I just want to get a little bit more context as to why that one wasn't working.
Right, and I don't know.
Okay.
Like obviously I didn't see their screen. They were just like, she fiddled with it for a while and she was like, okay, that's just not going to work.
Weird.
And I was just wondering if there was any like troubleshooting, like, oh, just make sure your firewall is da-di-da or whatever that maybe.
Yeah, like in terms of that, there's really not much to really look at as long as one, they have the application downloaded, and two, they have a good enough internet connection. Because it's if they're on like a high-speed light connection where it's like a very, very slow speed, I wouldn't recommend using this application for that purpose.
Right. I don't think that was. I don't
But,
think that was an issue.
yeah, so those are really the only 2 factors that we look at in terms of that, because you're the one that's hosting the link. When you when you actually do send that out to them, they should automatically just click on the link in the description of the email, which should automatically redirect them to automatically download the application and have it just join in progress.
Right.
So that's the way it should work in a perfect world.
Right.
I've had
But
some
go ahead.
I was going to say I've had some feedback from folks who are trying to use this, but there's somebody else in the house, streaming Netflix, and it's just not working. Like their connection is bad. So I don't know if that was a factor, but also there's been there's a few people, like the provincial trauma team can't be on the same meeting in the same room because there's too much feedback. I know that's not what the issue was, Sherilyn, with your family, but a bunch of devices on the same meeting in the same room does really terrible things to people's sound sometimes.
Yeah,
So
and
that might
so
not have worked.
Yeah, and so in those kind of instances, you maybe just give a heads up ahead of time. If you have a lot of people that are going to be in the same room, you'll just really need one device, and maybe just a boardroom phone just to dial into the actual conference, as a workaround kind of thing, because it does happen where a mic picks up the sound from another one, and then it just reverberates, and then it gets really, really bad to the point where there's a lot of feedback and it overpowers everything. I mean, you as a host can certainly mute everybody else except one person, so that way they can still pick it up. But ultimately, you want to be able to have it where people just join and there's not a whole lot of overlap and clashing. So, yeah, so there's definitely ways that it can certainly be set up that way. I'll see if I can show you guys from the admin interface how we can do that if necessary. Share this screen here. Oh no, right to the desktop. Find that. I see how it is. Stop share. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Any other feedback that you want to provide me with? No?
You already talked about um, the thing that people most were struggling with was they got a message that it wasn't secure or it wasn't safe. Have you already covered that?
Yeah, so like I said, in terms of that, because of the discretion that that Zoom had, we don't work off of Zoom's actual servers. We have our own dedicated service. We just use the software to do it, but it is end-to-end encryption.
So even though it says it might not be safe to just go ahead anyway.
So what it is that it's just something that needs to be enabled on the administration side, and then every single meeting is actually encrypted going forward, both at rest and in transmission.
What do you mean on the administration side?
So there's an admin portal that Eric has access to. That it's just literally a flip of a switch.
So
And
Eric has to go into
if
everybody.
not, I can always do that as well because I'll have back-end access to do that.
Okay, because I think that was like the number one glitch that people were experiencing.
Let me just confirm here. Give me a second. We'll run it to your account and make sure that it is set up that way. Okay. I think there was also, I think Alex, I think you might have brought it up at one point regarding, I think Alex dropped off, regarding waiting rooms. Was that something that you guys were wanting to make use of, is the waiting rooms feature?
I don't think so. I think there was a problem with the waiting room feature. And I think because you have the option of letting folks start without you or waiting until you start the meeting, I don't think that was something that folks wanted to use. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What I can probably also suggest in the meantime is for those of you guys that are still having trouble with certain clients uh, calling in or joining the meeting in progress, maybe just keep a note of any sort of particular error message or behavior, and then send me a note about it on Monday, and then I'll certainly see why that is the case. Because anytime I've ever done this with a lot of other people, like I said, in a perfect world, it should just be a straight click, download, join. That's the general consensus of it. But if there are things that don't work properly, certainly make note of the error message or anything that does come up during that time, and I'll see if I can dig into it a little bit further for you guys. Does that make sense? Lots of nodding. Okay, good. All right. I'm just going in here. Settings. Okay, yeah. So the encryption is actually turned on for you guys on every single meeting. So that has already been enabled. So it looks like he's done a lot of that.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Last 10 minutes. Anything else outstanding? Any other feedback you want to provide to me? No?
No, I think everything's running smoothly other than those few glitches. So
Okay.
thanks for your time.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, just keep me updated on anything like that that does happen. I definitely want to make sure that it does work for the majority of the clients that you do work with, right? And then if there are any if there are any issues that do come up that seem to be a particular pattern, let me know, please. The more feedback that I have, the more that I can try to assist in whatever way I can. If I can't help it, then I can send it off to TELUS or to Ring Central to help with that side of things. Okay. With that being said, I'll give you guys 10 minutes back in your day.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks,
All right.
Ethan.
Bye,
And
everybody.
then for anybody else that was not able to join, I will send out the link to them, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a
Okay.
great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.